Hello, folks. It's been one heck of a week with a PlayStation State of Play, and I wanted to introduce like kind of a big picture talk that I have some things that I wanted to think about with that. And of all the people to bring this up with me, as well as if there's time, maybe some previews and whatnot, and some really good news. As of today, breaking news, the DICE Awards happened last night. So we have some new winners in terms of what the industry, not the outlets, the media outlets, what the industry thinks are our best things of the year. And some really good news if you're into family-friendly games. And of course, a Valentine's Day themed good game at the end. And who to do this with me is a good buddy of mine, longtime friend of the channel, Josh from Quest Mode. Say hello, sir.
Hello, good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yes, indeed. And Josh, we are going to be having a very PlayStation-centric talk today, and I'm very happy to have you of all people here because PlayStation is still, correct me if I'm wrong, is that your still like main platform?
It is currently pretty much my only platform other than the occasional Steam Deck game here and there.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you have a Steam Deck.
I do.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. I've not gotten one yet. My Switch keeps me happy. Sometimes I try out the Xbox Cloud stuff, so I don't know. And I'm still worried about that OS, but
I do have a Switch as well, and I do play that about as often as my Steam Deck. I forgot about that. So yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's been a hot minute, man, and you heard the lowdown of just the DICE Awards. We have a state of play to talk about and kind of a big picture. The theme of this is like PlayStation then and now. And you were just telling me something before we started. I'm like, stop. I want you to bring this up because Josh was saying like before we're getting rolling here, like this thumbnail. I think that was the last and I want you to continue what you were saying. What were you saying?
Yeah, so the thumbnail on your YouTube video for this was a picture of those panels with all the PlayStation exclusive characters on them. And that was either the last E3 that PlayStation was at, or it was taken at the last PlayStation Experience, which would have been all the way back in 2017. So I don't think that was it because Ghost of Tsushima was on there. Anyways, it brought back some memories because I was at both of those events. And so I think that was the last PlayStation E3, which would have been, I think, either 2018 or 2019. And I was at it, and I missed those.
2018 was the final year that they were at E3, and you were there. Oh wow!
Yeah. I was at the last E3 that PlayStation was at. I was very lucky to have been there. I never got invited to E3 as like a media person. Unfortunately, that was my goal.
I was gonna say, I was like, were you there as a media person? Because that's I went the year before, but as a consumer, So yeah. Which is hectic as a consumer. It's probably hectic as a media person too. But
and I'm sad that E3 is gone. I wish it still existed, but
I miss it. And before we get started, I don't know. Like it's been a hot minute. I've been missing you lately. I feel we haven't done anything since I guess we got together last month with Nick. We were talking about our like most anticipated games.
It hasn't been too long.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just feels like it has. Maybe it's because like so much has happened, but since we've gotten together, have you been playing anything or extracurricular activities?
I've been playing. Well, I talked about Tomb Raider last time, and so I've been playing the old Tomb Raider remasters in preparation for the new Tomb Raider remasters, which came out today, by the way. So Tomb Raider 3, I actually never played that game, even though Tomb Raider is one of my favorite franchises of all time.
Is that what you're hitting this weekend?
Yeah. Yep. And and then other than that, I'm gonna dabble. I have a friend who just started Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and he's like, "Yep, it's as good as people are saying." So that's tempting. I also was tempted by Civilization 7, but I have Civ 6 in my backlog, and I never touched it. So that's tempting me. So my weekend, I have a 3-day weekend. I'll play something, but that's Tomb Raider is what I have been spending my time with.
That's your must. According to our last time we had you on, that's like a must. So
yeah. I love Tomb Raider, and I still love the old school games. I actually think they hold up. I don't know if other people agree, but yeah. Man, I wanted to tell you and anybody watching, shout Supertone Creature. Saw you guys this morning on our Otaku Valentine's stream. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. By the way, I don't remember if I said it, but happy Valentine's Day, Josh. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you for Day of Love. Just share the love. It doesn't have to be all about couples. But I
I want to share with you and everybody just my shout out of a game I've been playing lately. Nick put me on it from last time. I don't remember if Nick mentioned it last time or the time before that, but he was saying how this game like messed with his brain, and he's just like so like glad he discovered it.
Trying to remember.
Citizen Sleeper 2 or Citizen Sleeper is awesome. Like he was so right. Citizens, I was gonna jump into 2 and just be like, let's just play a 2024 game. But I decided I saw the first one is so short apparently, so why not? But man, it is like it is a good ass RPG. What? You're not going to play it for the gameplay. There's no combat. There's no well, there's a level up system, but you're just making, it's a very day in the life game, but very sci-fi-esque. You're just playing as this like sentient robotic being that like you sacrificed your soul so your body could live, but you live in this robot body, and you're on this like kind of space structure that you're trying to make a life for your own, that you escaped, and you're like trying to just live on this ring or whatever. And it's so day in the life. You like manage what are you doing today, and like there might be a limited amount of time, so you're like a little bit cautious, like, oh, if I don't do this for this person today, am I gonna miss out? And it's like it's one of those games, very day in the life RPG, but very sci-fi. It's really, I gotta hand it to them. This is pretty good.
I know for people who like it, it was like whatever year that came out, maybe 2022, 2023, I don't know.
Yeah, 2022, I think, yeah.
It was like game of the year level for the people who really are into that sort of game.
Yeah, I mean, but it's very like story oriented. Mm-hmm. Like you have to be very like just submerge yourself in it. Yeah, very cool. I hope in the back half of the year I'll hit Citizen Sleeper 2 because About is coming up. So it's like gonna be 2 RPGs back to back. So yeah, but anyway, so that's what I've been hitting. That's cool. And Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is amazing. I've been finally playing that too. It's awesome. It's so awesome. Yeah.
Did you not jump into Helldivers when it came out?
No,
I didn't either.
That was like my top game last year. I wanted to play that I didn't get to. So yeah. And like every other year, it's just turning out to be a great game. Like of all the games I always miss. Yeah. Anyways, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And there's some congratulations to give to it because we're gonna jump right into it because our like first thing, this whole stream today is gonna be very PlayStation-esque. And with me today, by the way, just once again, a plug into Josh Quest Mode. If you haven't seen him before, he's taking a little break, but it just awesome content for you to check out. Some previous reviews too. So that is Josh. His link is in the description. I'm pretty sure I left. Yeah, I did. But yeah, Josh and I are going to have a lot of PlayStation talk today. And speaking of Helldivers 2, it actually got some love last night because last night was the DICE Awards. And if you don't know what the DICE Awards are, I would argue it's probably the second most relevant award show of the year because it just depends. The Game Awards, in terms of like, what matters most potentially, the Game Awards is by all the media outlets from all over the world. And the DICE Awards, it's from like the people that actually work in game development. So it's like you get two different aspects. What did the critiques think? And what did the people that work on it think? So I think that's a cool thing about the DICE Awards. And plus, you get every game from the year. That's something I think is awesome about the DICE Awards. It's Indiana Jones was nominated for Game of the Year at the DICE Awards, FYI. So there you go, Josh. But it did not win. It was a good night for PlayStation because, yet again, Astrobot managed to take the win. I'm going to open up the winners to the DICE Awards here and open up some B-roll. And here we are. So yeah, this is from IGN. I'm just like summarizing the DICE Awards 2025 winners, the full list. And just this first paragraph, I'm going to read to you guys. The 28th DICE Awards have arrived and celebrate the best of the world of video games for 2024. While there was a lot of winners across 23 categories, Astrobot won the night by taking home Game of the Year, alongside Outstanding Achievement Animation, Outstanding Technical Achievement and Family Game of the Year, and Outstanding Achievement in Game Design. There were other few games that won multiple categories, and Helldivers 2 came in second. with 4 wins for outstanding achievement in music, audio design, action game, and online game. And Balatro and Indiana Jones also, they were like 3rd place, taking home 3 wins. So that's an immense summary of what went down and who won at the Game Awards, or not Game Awards, DICE Awards last night. And there's a couple things like we could talk about, Josh, but just right off the bat, like, what does this do for you?
I mean, I'm happy that Astrobot got the love it got. That was my game of the year last year. There wasn't a lot that I played last year that I would have that was like, man, this game is amazing and worthy of game of the year. But Astrobot was up there for me, so I was happy about that. I can't believe that a character action platforming game won all these awards. Like the last time that happened was probably like when Mario 64 came out back in the 90s. So,
what do you think? Is there anything like I don't, without triggering a too big of a thing, like off the top of your head, like what do you think about Astrobot like did it? Because I think there's something neat about like when we look at these categories. I love a category here, by the way. It's what I would have rooted for Psychonauts 2. It's outstanding achievement in game design. I love that category, game design. And that's something Psychonauts 2 I thought was great at. And I think that's a cool thing about Astrobot. It's just like, even these awards kind of say it, the technical achievement and just overall game design and animation. But the game design thing I think is kind of key to Astrobot. It's not just because it's a fun game, but it's fun because of the way it's like the way it plays, the way it's made, all the levels. That's what I would say. But
yeah, well, the thing that I've said about Astrobot is that every single thing in that game, from the levels to just the animations to just like the extraneous stuff in the world, it's all there to make the game more fun. Like there's nothing in that game that's not there to make it more fun. Yeah. So like if you decide to just go explore and go off the beaten path, you'll just run into random stuff that's cool and makes you smile. Like it's kind of like a cliche for people to say like, oh, I was smiling the whole way through a game, but this game literally made me smile, and like everything that you do is just fun. And there's nothing in there about the stuff that people don't like about AAA games. Like there's no monetization. I mean, they just released 5 new levels for free. You just go open your PlayStation, and I don't know if they're in the latest update, but the trophies are there to go play them. So I figured that it's there.
Which I wonder about these levels, by the way. Like that's a very, I don't have that written in the docket here, but it is worth mentioning. Like Astrobot is just adding yet another 5 other levels to the game. But the last time they did this, they were like these speedrun levels, and I played through them. Yeah, they're okay, but it's like literally something you do in a minute. But the Christmas level, that was different. Yeah. I don't know if you hit that, but that was like a full blown. That's what I want. And they don't even need to do it. They don't even need to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think that it is such a pure game. It's pure. It's fun. It's a video game, and I'm glad that people are paying attention. I hope it sells well enough. Yeah, well, it seems like it is, because Sony's, as we get into it, it sounds like
I was gonna say there's a second story that we'll bring up Astrobot one more time, but just another shout out to Helldivers 2. That as IGN outlined, they won, which is funny. They won best audio design, which Hellblade 2 would like a word, but the audio design in Helldivers 2 is amazing. I can vouch. Like, it is awesome. I'm not mad about it, but yeah, they won music and audio design and best action game, and online game, sorry. And it's very well deserved. And it was also, the DICE Awards was pretty different from the Game Awards, because Helldivers 2 and Indiana Jones were nominated for Game of the Year at the DICE Awards. So, that's why I'm saying the DICE Awards, it's nice because it's throughout the whole year. And it's neat because Helldivers 2 nominated for Game of the Year. And I don't know. And I'll just dive into it unless there's anything else we want to say about the DICE Awards. But yeah, you had a perfect transition to the next story. But
well, the one thing I just want to call out is that Animal Well got best achievement, outstanding achievement in game direction, which is not a small award. That's a huge award. And I love that game. That was also one of my favorite games of last year. So I was happy to see that.
I think that was nominated. Was this nominated for also just that design category that I mentioned. I'm looking right now.
It was, yes, it was.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, that's interesting because the outstanding achievement in game design, it's like Animal Well, Astrobot, Balatro, Helldivers 2, UFO 50. And what I love about that, this is why I love that category, is because Josh, you and I talk about the Game Awards every year. So of all people, but like, this is what I think everything in this category makes sense, because it's like literally all of them did something that was kind of just different in some way. And I appreciate that so much, of just all these nominees, like UFO 50, a game that has like 50 games freaking built into it. Helldivers 2, they changed the game for multiplayer games, and let's just bring back that feel of old Balatro, what's a mobile poker game, and Astrobot, like, let's, as you said, make a video game, and Animal Well. It's the atmosphere of it that's so, like, there's nothing said, just go in it, like, I think it's cool. That's cool. So yeah, it's a good shout that you said Animal Well won game direction, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
But yeah. But the story we were gonna transition to is back on the train of Astrobot. It's, to set this up, I made this case last year that Astrobot, it's not only a beloved game to me, but it's something that I was really hoping would trigger this ripple effect in the industry, that you can pay homage to old IPs that you have that just might not fit in today's world. You can make 3D platformers and get critical reception and make money, hopefully. And it's not a genre that you should just leave alone. It's there for the taking. And I really hope that Astrobot's massive critical reception would do that by getting sales. And apparently, not only did it get a good deal of sales for being this modest game too. That's the other thing. It challenges this whole ballooning budget problem that we have with just this small 60 team that they did it in 3.5 years. But PlayStation took notice. And ladies and gentlemen, we got him. This next story. PlayStation says it's planning to release more family games like Astrobot. Sony says the platformer's awards success validates its plan to expand in the family genre. And this came from a meeting with Sony president Hiroki Todoki, who highlighted Team Asobi's platformer's recent award success, and they validated it. And he said, at the Game Awards 2024, our first-party title, Astrobot, won 4 categories, including Game of the Year and Best Family Game, the most of any title. And he also has good praise in Helldivers 2, because it won Best Ongoing Game and Best Multiplayer. And it just continued last night with freaking the DICE Awards. It's like it's stacking for both those games. They were the 2 most winning games at the DICE Awards as well. And so, I'm looking for it. Here we go. So, and commenting on Astrobot's launch, PlayStation studio boss Herman Holtz claimed that Astrobot IP was very, very important brand for PlayStation going forward. Astrobot is very important to PlayStation, he said. Obviously, had the pre-install with the PlayStation 5 that millions have embraced and loved. I think that's becoming a little bit of a platform to launch this new game now. It's remarkable that a very small team is able to deliver a game that is so big. It's really a great game in itself and become a celebration of everything in PlayStation at this point. But it's more so the statement that I want to grab, which is Hiroki Todoki saying, the fact that titles in genres, including Helldivers 2, we are planning to expand in the future, we'll be coming back to that, including titles for families and live service games, have received these awards, is a major stride towards building a broad title portfolio. So there's a lot of people that are gripping onto this saying, great, Astrobot did the dang thing. We could get more family-oriented games. We could get more platformers from PlayStation. Josh, what do you want them to do?
I mean, like, I'd be very surprised if we don't get another Astrobot game. But what I would love to see is, like, I'm super excited that this is a direction they're willing to go in and willing to spend money on. But like, everybody knows Nintendo is like they do the best family, games pretty much in the business. But they have this little game called Zelda, which is very just kids can play Zelda, adults can play Zelda. I mean, one of the things that makes Astrobot great. I mean, I'm like I'm in my early 40s and I played Astrobot and freaking loved it. And I know people who have kids who played Astrobot, so it definitely spans the age spectrum. But a game like Zelda, I think, does that as well. I don't know if kids as young will be playing a game like that, but that's what I would like to see PlayStation do, is kind of create something that has this big world to explore, but is not like a violent game necessarily. But it's also not like what some people might call like a kiddie game. There are people out there who would look at Astrobot and call it that, even though it's not. And those people are wrong. But if you look at Zelda, you could be my age and be like, you wouldn't assume that it's a family game, but it is. Am I making sense here?
You are. Because I get what you mean, like because I would say the word that Nintendo overall has is not accessible in the sense that Xbox, but accessible in terms of just everyone. Like everyone can have fun playing basically any Nintendo game. And yeah, I think that's the thing you're getting at with Zelda. Like, Zelda's kind of a Skyrim, so to speak, but it's accessible, Yeah,
well, so I mean, look at Tears of the Kingdom, but then look at Echoes of Wisdom. Both Zelda games,
right?
But like totally, it straddles the age spectrum completely, without it being what I think people typically call a family game. Now, if Sony wants to go, if PlayStation wants to go on and make like a their version of Mario Party and their version of whatever these other family friendly games are, I'm totally on board for that. Like, make games for the kids. But as an adult, I'd love to see the family games that also appeal to me. I sound like I just bashed Mario Party. I realize that game is also for everyone, but yeah,
I get what you mean.
Maybe
Yeah, I do see in the chat Tim per 21 mentioning this is awesome for the industry, which is my main note here, is ballooning AAA budgets. We're going to crash the industry. And
yeah.
And I'm like, that's to me a big thing about this news from PlayStation is like, that was honestly the primary thing. I wanted Astrobot to be that case study that not just 3D platformers, because I made a case about that back in 2021, where Psychonauts 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart were both nominated for Game of the Year. They sold well, not as great as other things, but they sold well enough. But they got the critical acclaim. Xbox, PlayStation. Don't let Nintendo be the only person doing stuff like this. Yeah. And so I feel like now we're at this spot that not only is that case being brought up again, but it's also the big picture part of it that Tim Purr in the chat just brought up, that like game budgets are getting out of control. But Astrobot, I did the math in the video I did, where all they needed to kind of balance out was essentially just 1 million copies sold. Even if they did 1 million copies, that would put the game in the profit.
Yeah.
And there are these reports that show that Astrobot apparently sold like 1.5 million. And all they needed was like 600,000 to 700,000 to be in the profit area. So not only is it Game of the Year, but it did make money. So let's keep doing this,
Yeah. And I bet that game is going to have
And it was done in 3 years. 3.5 years with 60 people. With a budget that isn't in the hundreds, it's with the math I was coming up with, it was probably like 30 to 60 million. That's how much it costed. Not too crazy.
And I bet Astrobot is going to have a very high attach rate as well. I bet you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I have no idea what it would be, but a lot of PlayStations that get sold, especially to families, are going to get sold with Astrobot attached to them. Whether they make a bundle or whether people buy it separately.
Let me bring this up, Josh. So this was another part of this article that I was reading from. According to Sony, the title sold 1.5 million units in its first 9 weeks, a significant chunk of which was new players. That's interesting. I wonder what they mean by that.
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by that.
Yeah, in Europe, Astrobot said to have outperformed virtually any non-Super Mario 3D platform game released in the last decade. And so I'm very curious what the new players means. If you're watching, let us know. But my camera just disappeared. But is my camera gone? Oh yeah, my camera died. Okay. Well, Josh,
maybe people who didn't play the last Astrobot. I don't know. I'm trying to think what they mean by that. But.
Yeah, I don't know. But my back. Yeah, I'm back. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. But it's not even about that. So I'm agreement about the whole big picture side of it, but just PlayStation's sitting on so many fantastic IP. Get it free. Maybe your studios aren't going to work on these IP again, especially Insomniac. They're so busy now with other stuff, but it's like, you got Sly Cooper, you got Jack and Dexter, you got so many things that you could do. Yeah. So just do it. It won't cost as much. Just do it.
That's a great point. Is like, yeah, does that statement from I'm going to forget his name, but the CEO, does that imply that they're going to take a game like Jack and Daxter and make a sequel to that? And if it's stuff like that, that would be awesome. Or, a lot of people want Sly Cooper or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That could be cool. And I guarantee you they could make one of those games in probably less time than they made Astrobot.
Maybe. I see C2 saying they should make a PlayStation Animal Crossing. I don't know. You never know. Like, you could just use Nintendo as the template. Who knows? But I'm just glad to see this, just this, like, statement. Who knows? It is a statement from a higher up. Maybe it was just something nice to say. But I do see attachment rates being brought up. But, I don't want to think about that of just like, oh, if there's 80 million PlayStation 5s out there, only 1.5 million played it. That's lame. It's like, dude, it's 1.5 million people. Not everything needs to be a freaking Mario Kart Deluxe situation. I don't know, but as long as a game reviews well and is profitable, then I don't care.
And I think for games like that, like they have expectations, and I don't think that unless you're Square Enix, I don't think you're going to release Astrobot and expect it to sell 5 million right off the bat. Because they know what this genre normally does, and it's not.
It was a pretty last minute release too. They announced it in May, and then it released 4 months later. So, yeah.
But watch, like, again, based on that attach rate, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time the PlayStation 6 comes out, Astrobot has sold well over 5 million. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I saw this statement of like, Astro Playroom has sold 75 million copies. You get it? Like, they're not wrong. But
not wrong.
You're not wrong. It comes with PlayStation 5. But speaking of more of PlayStation shenanigans, to ease us into our kind of big conversation that I just want to have a back and forth with you watching and Josh, and let us know, by the way, if you are enjoying the show, if you're watching live, support it by leaving a like and dropping your thoughts on our topics, dropping some in the Q&A for us to address later on the show. If you want to keep the show running to address other stuff like previews this week or Avowed reviews, love a super chat, but in no ways do you have to do that. Just like the show and keep on staying with us. But as we ease into our big topic, PlayStation. We're still on that. This is really the PlayStation-centric show. That's why the thumbnail's up. It's a cool thumbnail. and we had a state of play this week. We had a state of play that had quite a lot of trailers in it. And, I even just on screen, I can just like highlight all this. This was like on Wednesday this week. And including, we got Housemarque's new game revealed with Saros. They definitely ended the show with that as their big first-party thing. The other first-party things was like, oh, here's a remaster of Days Gone. You can't go one state of play without a remaster. And there was one other little teeny tiny thing I forgot. It wasn't anything major. But like first party wise, there was like a remaster, and then there was something else. I don't remember. It wasn't worth mentioning, honestly. It was something very teeny tiny, like a remaster. But anyways, you got a lot of stuff. You got like the Borderlands 4 launch date. We got a new, very goofy game from Konami. New Digimon game. Freaking stoked about that. The next game from the Dark Picture people. Like there was some stuff in here. And Josh, I'm just curious, like, I don't know. I don't want to necessarily run through every single one, but was there anything about the state of play that you found very intriguing, or maybe like how did you come out of it?
I don't think I was as sour on it as some people out there, but it didn't blow me away. I do think that the game that I'm probably going to be keeping my eye on more than any other was Mind's Eye. Which was the new IP from the ex Grand Theft Auto, or the ex Rockstar guy. I can't remember his name, but that's a guy I believe I'm correct here, and that the director of this game is used to work at Rockstar, and it also has, I don't know what the attachment is, but they flashed the logos on the screen, and it said IO Interactive Partners or something like that. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, I think they're helping them
IO
publish it or something. Yeah.
Anything that IO Interactive is attached to, I'm immediately going to pay attention to because I'm such a Hitman fan. But anyway, I do think this game looks good. It has kind of like Grand Theft Auto from the future vibes to it.
Yeah.
Which I thought looked cool. And then there's an indie game called The Blueprints, which probably nobody remembers, but that looks right up my alley. I'm definitely going to be checking that out when it comes out. And then Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater looks, continues to look good to me. And really I thought that even though I didn't play the game, the Lies of P DLC looks excellent. And that actually got me thinking maybe I should play me some Lies of P.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Lies of P is awesome. That was definitely one of my most hyped moments of the show because I love that game. I think it's an awesome game. And yeah, I definitely I think a highlight for me was what was it called? It's Dream of Another. Yeah. That wasn't a highlight to me, but it seems like something that is a unique concept where instead of just being a shooter or destroying a stage, it's like, no, you're actually shooting to create things.
This is the voxel graphic style game, right?
Yeah. And so I always appreciate when a game does something different, and in terms of, again, game design. I'm a huge fan of that. And I just think that seemed like a really unique thing in the whole show. But in terms of hype, Josh, we are in a great year for action games.
It is. I mean, it is. There's almost too many.
We're in a great year for action games. Yeah. The Tides of Annihilation one, that looked nuts. That was the one with the really hot girl towards the end, but more British hot style. And I thought that game looked nuts. That was definitely a star to me of the show as well. They did release, as of today, a 10-minute gameplay snippet. I did watch it. The combat seems great, but boy, does the voice acting... I don't know. But, I mean, that's not maybe why we're playing it too much. But I'm definitely happy about the Digimon thing. I think that's also kind of cool, but that's kind of on a personal level. I don't know if I'll fork over freaking $70 for it. I hear it's that expensive. And Hell Is Us. That is a game that I was kind of looking forward to hearing more about. Because the first time we saw it, I thought it looked cool, and this one we got more of a glimpse of what the actual story is. So I don't know if I'll get to it, but that was a neat highlight too. But yeah, definitely. Oh, and a quick shout out to this game that I'm going to put on screen. Lost Souls aside, I think this is one of those games being made by just one person or something, and it's been in the works for many years.
Yeah.
But then they announced that release date. Which it is May 30th, which we also learned this week is the release date of Elden Ring Night Rain. So
that's unfortunate. I mean,
that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. So, but I don't know. I'm with you that on paper, I keep saying this over and over. On paper, I thought the State of Play was a good showing of a lot of games, but there was just this feeling that I couldn't quite figure out until after I slept on it. And I'm going to come back to that, but I do want to see if people watching live had anything to say. John, I'm hyped about Monster Hunter Wilds. I thought that was a weird way to start the show, personally. That was kind of we've seen plenty of it. Have been since it was revealed at TGA 2023. Yeah, it's we won't be able to go a show without seeing Monster Hunter Wilds. But and also C2, people expect too much from State of Plays. It was better than I expected it to be. And that's fair. Creature says Sonic Racing Cross Worlds looks to be the Sonic Racing game, fusing together all different previous ones. I wouldn't be able to speak to that, but if they are doing that, that's a great thing. But in terms of what C2 is saying, people expect too much from State of Plays. It was better than I expected it to be. I don't. It's weird because like I agree. I think the reason, and this is gonna like slowly ease in our way of like the kind of big topic. I think it's because of the state of PlayStation right now.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
You know, like it was nothing against the state of play itself, but it's just the feeling of what PlayStation is currently. And I'm gonna pull on screen here, like. This is Jeff Keighley's account, you know, and people like to make jokes that Jeff Keighley is a Sony pony or whatever, but I don't think that's entirely true. But you know, he likes to do these polls after every one of just any presentation, and he's always like, you know, what would you grade today's blank? And we have like 78,000 votes where the majority said a D or below, including like I didn't say D. Oh, I said C. Yeah. But so, yeah, the majority was a D at 36%. A C was right behind it at 28%. And then B was right behind that at 25%. And only 9% said A. So, at least according to the 78,000 people that voted on Jeff's account, like, people weren't happy with this.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead, Josh. Like, go ahead. Comment off that.
I mean, I was just going to say, like, I feel like there was the sentiment among some of the reactions that I watched, and I tend to share it, is that, like, as good as this PlayStation State of Play may have been, it's like, imagine what could have been if Sony wasn't spending $1 billion canceling live service games. You know, like that's kind of
we're getting into it. Yeah.
So, yeah. So sorry, I had to say that. It's just like
no, because you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
you're totally right. Like, and I think because that's the thing. Like, it's just. It wasn't against the State of Play itself, because, you know, what was said earlier, people expect too much from State of Plays, and it's like, State of Plays are always like hit or miss, I feel. Like, there's some that are bangers, there's some that are, you know, they're a miss, and there's some that are okay. They go all over the place, in my opinion. And I think this one, on paper, had so much in it. You got the next game from a very big Rockstar creator. You got the release date for Borderlands 4. You got a fantastic Metal Gear trailer, finally with the release date that unfortunately got leaked beforehand. And, you know, and there's other stuff too. And again, almost every game in that show, I was at least interested in. There was like nothing in that show that I was personally bored of. Except, Josh, admittedly, you're a Blue Prince one. That was the only one that I was like, eh. But no offense to you. But like majority, like I found everything pretty interesting. And they even ended with, you know, here's our Housemarque next game. That's coming in 2026.
Is cool. I personally was a little disappointed that it seems like kind of like a spiritual successor to Returnal. I was hoping they'd do something totally new, but that was exciting.
I'm in agreement. Yep.
Yeah, but the other thing I think that maybe there was, and you're never going to not have this with these showcases. Every showcase is going to have this, but there were things that people were hoping to see that didn't show up. The three that come to mind are, I heard a lot of people hyping up maybe a potential Resident Evil 9 or Resident Evil remake, whatever the next remake is. That didn't show up.
Square Enix didn't show up here at all.
Yeah, Square Enix, what wasn't there? There were two other things that I now I'm having like a total brain fart. But basically, Ghost of Yotei was another one that they'll probably save for like summertime or do its own show. And and then I heard a lot of people thinking that maybe Bloodborne was going to show up here, and none of those things did. So that might also be disappointing people.
Yeah, John Morales in the chat says God of War Original 3 remakes. There was rumors of that too. There was like some rumors going on before this, and we can't go a State of Play without the remaster. We got the Days Gone remaster. So
that was one of the rumors that came true, and I feel like that's the one that I'm probably going to play the Days Gone remaster because I didn't play the original, but I understand why people are kind of lukewarm on that.
Yeah, but. I think in terms of just the Jeff Keighley poll, it's as you said, there was things that maybe people wanted to see here that they didn't see here, and I think it's also what I was saying before, that the state of PlayStation right now is just, it couldn't help but bleed into this. That to me I think is the biggest factor, because again, on paper There were so many games on this. They just kept rolling through. They even had a little bit of time of the people behind the games talking very briefly. I don't know. I almost feel like if you're going to have them in, then make them actually there, but I don't know. But I just think on paper, yeah, it was a good show. It's just, it depends if you could separate yourself from the fact that the only game, and let's just kind of transition into it. The state of PlayStation this year, I would argue we're kind of at this spot that, like, the start of this gen, Xbox started here, and PlayStation is now where Xbox was at the start of this gen. That's a really bold statement, but what I mean by that is at the start of this gen, people didn't know what's going to be on Xbox, like, when this series comes out. Like, you delayed Halo, that's coming at some point, and we know these other games in the works, but it's like, we don't really have anything in the near horizon. And now it's like everything's happening. And that's where PlayStation was at the start of this gen. It just felt like, here's, you got a God of War Ragnarok coming, we got Rift Apart coming, we got a Miles Morales coming, we got Forbidden West coming, we got so much stuff cooking and releasing in the first couple years of this. And as Josh, you brought up, how different would this state of play been if they didn't invest, yeah, you're right, probably billions of dollars into the live service stuff.
Yeah, I've got to think it's over $1 billion.
So, and I have some, like, things maybe I could bring up, like, just in terms of visually, but, like, in terms of the gen, PlayStation is not, like, behind or anything. They're way outselling Xbox. They're doing great in terms of PS5 compared to PS4. Their sales are, like, as good as the PS4 sales somehow, even though supposedly console stuff has maybe slowed down or whatever. But they had this whole plan to release 12 live service games by 2025. And I think we've only seen, like, a couple of them. And then there's this, like, statement that, and I'm going to, like, read this verbatim because if it's true, it's nuts. I have this from Forbes, where PlayStation announced that it was dramatically boosting investment in live service games, with a dozen reportedly in the works from fiscal year of 2019, around the time that Last of Us 2 came out, if I remember right. When investment was 88% traditional single-player games to 12% live service. That number is supposedly going to be now 40% on those single players and 60% live service by the end of 2025 fiscal year. That is a 5 times increase in the live service. And, like, it's as you said, Josh, I really wonder, like, what this, like, I feel like we're in this fallout that, it started off super high and we're feeling this fallout. And by the way, a lot of those live service games canceled. Apparently, like, Blue Point, Bend, a lot of them, I forget the other studio, there was a game where I think the Horizon game got canceled, maybe, but I hear, like, all these games keep getting canceled. There was a Twisted Metal. There was a Twisted Metal game in the works. They canceled it.
I want to say even Sony Santa Monica might have been working on one, but there have been a lot. And there was a Horizon game that was canceled. You're right about that too.
Yeah. So it's just, I think we're just dealing with that fallout right now, and that's part of the reason this state of play, people were just like, they just felt like it couldn't help but bleed in. Again, on paper, it was a great state of play, but just the state of PlayStation right now, even your one and only first-party game coming out this year, you don't even tell fans when that's coming out in the state of play.
Yeah.
So jump in, Josh. I don't know. Like, just like, what do you feel about the state of PlayStation right now? I guess just go over that first.
I'm glad that they demoted Herman Hulst. Jim Ryan got out of there and they demoted Herman Hulst. So it seems like that they didn't say this and they wouldn't, but it seems like that happening in conjunction with all these announcements of canceled games, that somebody at Sony, whether it's the board, I don't know, got the picture that we need to course correct to some degree. I'm sure they will still try to make live service games, but hopefully they've gotten the picture that they also, they canceled Naughty Dog's, The Last of Us game. And I remember, I think it was Neil Druckmann came out and basically said the reason we're canceling it is because that would turn Naughty Dog into a multiplayer studio, and that's not who we are. And so I hope that they've gotten the picture that, like, if you do want to make live service games, like, get freaking, you bought Bungie so they can do it. Get someone else who knows how to make live service games. Don't do
it's funny because I think Bungie was the big part of it too. Like they wanted the Bungie to be like a spearhead to all these investments. I don't think they would have bought them if it wasn't for this,
I'm sure that's got to be correct. And I just hope that they take a look at course correct and say, all right, Naughty Dog, you make good narrative driven, linear action adventures, and Sucker Punch, you make open world games, and they let these studios do what they're great at. And I think that some studios manage to escape the live service bug. Housemarque is one of them. It seems like Insomniac, who knows what they're up to, but it seems like they're
they
one
had
of
to
them.
cancel one too. They were working on the Spider-Man one.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. So anyways, I hope that PlayStation just lets their studios do what they do best. Let them cook. If you want to make live service games, get people who can do that. Like, I don't know, poach people from Epic. They're the Fortnite people, get them to do it. But don't make your studio another Rocksteady. Rocksteady's basically gone because they got put on a live service game. And that's horrible. Like, that sucks so bad.
No, that's a good example. That's a really good example. Yeah. I see C2 bringing up this and watching live. It was apparent to me at the beginning of last year that Xbox was going third party and Sony was going to have a drought of first party. And it's just been a year of two people coming to terms with those two things. Yeah, like that's kind of the situation. Like we're dealing with such a transition that I'm trying to stay focused on PlayStation, but there is this running joke that's it's true. It's a true thing that, like, people are saying it's really funny how this year Xbox will be publishing more games to PlayStation than PlayStation is publishing to their own platform.
I was telling my friend yesterday, I'm like, dude, my top two most anticipated PlayStation games are Xbox games in Indiana Jones and Doom: The Dark Ages.
Like, that you'll play on PlayStation,
100%.
Yeah, but that's a weird situation, and I think it is from this fallout of the live service plan, which I wasn't against the live service plan, but I just found it to be just not going as all in as you are. That's all. Just don't go as they literally went from 12% to 60%. They 5x'd it, and because of that, you see in the article I pulled up, it was like the single player stuff went from like an 88% down to 60, actually I think it went down to 40. Whatever, it drastically went down, and that's because of this plan. And so, again, as you said it, Josh, like imagine where we would be if Naughty Dog was entirely focused on, we now know, Intergalactic. If Blue Point wasn't doing whatever they were doing, and we could have just seen all these studios having done the things that they were hopefully wanting to do, and it's just and now it feels like we just don't have a roadmap for PlayStation right now, and that's a really weird thing because, as the thumbnail of this stream was, the PlayStation 4 years, dude.
Yeah.
They were on fire.
Yes, I think the PlayStation 4 was one of my favorite generations. And the other day, me and my friend were joking that the PlayStation 5 is basically just the PlayStation 4 Pro Plus or the PlayStation 4 Pro. Like, it's not that I don't like my PlayStation 5, I do, but it ain't no PlayStation 4.
I guess, so that's a question. I have it currently as the title of the stream. I might adjust that, but just like, yeah. So in terms of that, I would love to know if you watching have input on this too. Like what's your feeling on like PlayStation now versus then? Like, I made a comparison at the start of this gen. It felt like we were still in that PS4 era, and it's probably because we were. We were still in all those plans paying off during the PS4 era, and then we're now in the middle of this gen and a little bit past the middle, so we're really feeling what the new plans were. So I don't know, like just in a comparison, especially you, Josh, because I've been primarily an Xbox guy, but for your perspective as primarily a PlayStation person, like, how do you feel about the transition, like compared from the PS4 to the PS5, like being 5 years in here and 5 years in then?
It just doesn't feel like it feels more like an incremental jump again. Like it feels like the PlayStation 5 is not that different from the PlayStation 4. And that's probably just the way it's going to be moving forward. Like we're not going to get another just unbelievable leap in, power and graphics that we used to get every console generation. So it does feel just like an extension to me anyway of the PlayStation 4. But I think that the other thing is what we were just talking about, that Sony has or PlayStation decided to pivot to go kind of 60% of their budget into live service, and then they canceled a bunch of games. So it feels like now we've just gone at least half the generation without as many games as we used to get. Not to mention that game budgets and game timelines are ballooning to the point that even if they are focused on one game, it's like these AAA studios can't crank out more than one game per generation. So it feels like the games are a bit more sparse. I don't think that if you're talking first party, PlayStation 5 is not as good of a generation as PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3 for that matter, I don't think. But there's still a lot of games to play. Thankfully, there seems to be more games in development when you count third party that any human being could ever hope to play in their lifetime. So it's always an embarrassment of riches for me when I open my PlayStation library. Like I get 3 free games a month on PlayStation Plus. I don't even have time to play that many games.
And that's so I'm actually kind of glad you brought the PS Plus thing, because I maybe I should just quote myself. I don't know if I need to, but frick it, I will, because I kind of want this tweet to go around, because it's kind of how I feel. So this is actually it. So there was this tweet. I was looking forward to it. I'm like, Xbox socials gets really fun sometimes, and I like it. I like it when it seems like a human is operating it instead of a corporate being.
Yeah.
And I knew it. I knew after that show, they would just list so many things that's coming to their platform too. And they did. I have this tweet on screen here. We're excited for Monster Hunter Wilds show. They basically listed everything that was in that show and more to come. Whew. Like they just listed basically everything in that show except for Saris, basically.
And probably Days Gone. Yeah.
Yeah, and Days Gone. Yeah. And so this was what I said. I retweeted it, and I'm like, one of the things about the state of play yesterday is I felt like there's no benefit to me playing these games on PlayStation. And I add the word specifically there.
Yeah.
Basically, none were exclusive or included on PS Plus. So why should I play them on PlayStation? And I don't mean that in a console war way or anything like that, but it's just on paper, this was a great show in terms of just games shown, especially partner-wise. But in terms of it as a PlayStation show, what's the reason for me to play these unless I'm a longtime fan? Josh, you mentioned Indiana Jones. I want those trophies. Fair. But for anybody that's on all 3 platforms or on the fence with PlayStation, what's the benefit to me playing these on PlayStation? And I think that's another thing that I think that's just part of it right now, where if you watch an Xbox show, the benefit to that is some are still exclusive. Avowed's not coming to PlayStation yet. South of Midnight's not coming to PlayStation yet. So it still happens, but it's also the Game Pass thing. So that's another thing that just right now, I'm not saying that against PlayStation necessarily, but it's just another one of those things that I don't know. If you're not going to have the big first party hitters, and you're not going to have exclusives, and you're not doing PS Plus day one, then what do I boot my PlayStation up for? If I'm general.
That's a great question, and I don't know that there's a good answer to that. And PlayStation, they're in the position right now where they don't really have to compete as much as they used to.
And that's what bugs me, Josh. I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what bugs me, is that they are selling as many, if not more, PlayStation 5s as they did PlayStation 4s.
Yeah.
And I think of the Jesse Pinkman meme. They can't keep getting away with it. It's they just get to do it. They get to do what they want, and that scares me.
Yeah, and it's a part of me feels like, not to switch over to Xbox, but part of me feels like
sure.
Xbox caved. Not that they've caved totally, but that they caved a little too soon. Like they said, okay, we're going to start bringing our stuff over to PlayStation, and then all of a sudden PlayStation cancels like all these games, and they don't have an exclusive to speak of, except for, I guess, Ghost of Yotei. Like, that's coming out this year, but like, you know, a part of me wonders, like, what if Xbox just said, okay, let's give it one more push, let's put everything we've got into Xbox and screw PlayStation. Because I think PlayStation wouldn't. They don't appear to be having a good They didn't have a good 2024 other than Astrobot, and they're not looking to have a good 2025 other than Ghost of Yotei.
In terms of the first party output, yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So, but yeah.
It's just interesting because I get the whole competition thing. I did a whole video about this, about like why Xbox is doing what they're doing. And I see C2 again. There isn't an incentive, but there doesn't need to be one with Xbox going third party. Like, yeah, like PlayStation's the spot that you could play everything, and that's maybe the idea. But it's also just, we also want it. I just want there to be a good benefit to being a PlayStation player, other than this is where you could play everything, which is a good benefit. That is a good benefit. But I don't know. It's just, it makes me feel, it's again the title of just PlayStation then and now, you know, just I just all these exclusives that I could only play on the PS4, and now it just feels like everybody else is covering PlayStation. It feels like that last year and this year, that it's just like the third parties. And in terms of PlayStation, Xbox is a third party. They're a third party bringing stuff to their first party platform, and it's just a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, and most PlayStation exclusives, it feels like, are eventually going to end up on PC too. So even though the ports have been kind of garbage, but at least from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with the next generation of consoles, because I think that's where they're going to try and come up with some reason why you need to buy our box. Other than, it's got to be some reason now, other than we've got exclusive games, because you know, exclusive games don't exist like they used to.
I'm glad you brought that point, because that's my point. Like, I'm not going to go into it, but that's what my whole, like, the video I did recently, not to plug it in, but that's the kind of punchline to the video, is that I think Xbox is trying to jump on the curve of that sooner than PlayStation is. They're trying to get ready for that exact thing you just posed. Like, if exclusives aren't going to be the selling point anymore, what is? And I think that's what, that's the reason why Xbox is trying to do what they're doing so soon. Also to make a quick buck, but yeah. But yeah, the state of PlayStation. We'll see how it goes. I hope, maybe last quick question. When do you think it course corrects? Do you feel like if they made that like live service thing, if they pulled it back, so they want to make it like, you know, like they made it like 33%, they're investing in platformers again a little bit more, and then they also are like, okay, let's focus on the stuff that people knew us for. Like, when do you think we'll see, like, if PlayStation does return to that feeling? Do you think like 2027, 2026?
Yeah, it's going to be a while. I don't think we're going to see a ton of I think we're going to see, like, is it Soros or Saros? That'll come out. And then I think the next one that we know of is Intergalactic. I think after Intergalactic you'll see it, but honestly, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised is if Sony is internally right now, if they're really saying like, bro, we screwed up, like we really screwed up, and we've got to fix this, and we've got to get back to what we were in the PlayStation 4 days. You know what I think we're going to see is when PlayStation 6 is announced, you're going to see some heavy-hitting exclusives for PlayStation 6. I think you're going to see, like, I don't know if it's going to be The Last of Us 3 or Uncharted 5, or I know those are two Naughty Dog games, or, you know, whatever it is. You're going to see PlayStation bring out the big guns when they announce PlayStation 6. I think that's what that is. And who knows if that's going to be 2027, 2028. I don't think it'd be any later than 2028.
2028 is definitely, they'll have it by then. So state of PlayStation. Where do you think it's going to go? Share your voice. And in terms of time, we're at the hour, so I potentially want to do a good game, but I wanted to bring in some questions from the chat and maybe hit some very quick notes potentially. If you're joining the show, let us know, and drop any questions in the Q&A on the top. But there was some questions that I had from Supertone and Creature. Creature said, and I actually have a good Valentine's Day question for you, Josh. But before that, Creature said, your game goal for this year. What does that mean? I don't know if I have a game goal. You left that kind of vague, but I would say, does anything come to your mind, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I've a few actually. That it just so happens that I've kind of thought about this, but I don't do this every year. But I have so I got 2 platinum trophies in January, which is ahead of my normal pace of like I usually get about 1 a month. So I'd like to keep that pace up, get 2 platinum trophies every month. And another one is so I'm on a money saving kick, and there is a reason for that.
Way to go.
Yeah, and so I am just, as I was last year, I am plowing away at my backlog, and I don't know what my as far as games that I'll play this year that are releasing this year, there's some Indiana Jones, Doom, The Dark Ages, Ghost of Yotei when that comes out. There's a handful, but just keep. I have hundreds of games that I've already paid for.
Hey,
just
look, if you're trying to save money, then fix your Xbox and get Game Pass. Well, just play Indiana Jones and Doom, but then that adds to your problem of the backlog. So.
Dude, it's embarrassing for me to tell people how many games are in my PlayStation library. I mean, it is hundreds and hundreds. It's like,
are you one of those people you keep buying stuff and then but then you never get to?
Oh yeah, like last year, that's what I did.
You told me last time, Animal Well. It's just, or not Animal Well. Death's Door. It's just, you've bought it and it's been sitting there forever or something.
Yeah, and then like one of the most recent, and then I've got this library of games I played, and so I'm like, what do I play now? And one of the most recent games I played is a game I actually didn't even pay for. I got it for free, and that was Jack and Daxter. I got it for free. I got it with my PlayStation Plus membership, but it's it's hilarious that like, yeah, I have these games that I bought, and then I end up playing a game that they gave me for free. It's
So to hit more of your backlog this year, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that could save you money too. So yeah, that's a good goal.
That's the point I was trying to make, but apparently, yeah.
I would say for me, like my bare minimum is because it's not that I'm an Xbox nut, it's that I'm a Game Pass nut. That's really my thing. Like I wouldn't be so much of a fan of Xbox if it wasn't for Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And my thing with that has always been like, I just always want to play at least one game with Game Pass a month because then it pays for itself.
Yeah.
That's why last month I went through Death's Door. Oh, I'll talk to you about that afterwards, by the way. But yeah, I that was my January game, and then this month it's like Citizen Sleeper, and it's soon to be Avowed. So it's like that's my underlying goal. Is just to always have at least one Game Pass game a month because then it pays for itself. But so I'll just say that for now. But and also to beat the max difficulty on Helldivers. Anyways.
Nice.
Supertone, I heard Ubisoft has around 30% drop in revenue for the past year. Anything on that? I have no idea. Josh, I don't know if you have anything, but I have no idea about that.
All I know is it seems like every time Ubisoft is in the news these days, it's about them being up for sale. So, I mean, yeah, if they're...
Potentially,
and I have heard that, yes, financially they're not doing well. So, be interesting to see what happens with Assassin's Creed coming out next month.
Assassin's Creed, yep. And then C2, at what price is Game Pass too expensive?
That's a good question. Like,
it's really, yeah. Because this year, they're doing the damn thing where, like, there is a major first-party game so frequently, In just the front half of the year, you got 3. You got South of Midnight, Doom, and Avowed. And not to mention everything else in between. So, it's like... I feel like Ultimate, when you get day ones, I feel like $20 is like right at the cusp. I don't like 25 could be worth it, but there better be something on there that you like want to play. And if not, then I don't know. But I think then you would have to be a bit more strategic with it. So I feel like they're at the cusp. I don't know if they can justify more than $20 right now. Not unless games become freaking $80.
Yeah, which they probably will at some point.
Probably will. Grand Theft Auto 6.
What do they charge for Game Pass Ultimate right now on console?
Ultimate's $20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is why a lot of people probably do PC, because like PC Game Pass is cheaper and you get all the same benefits. So
yeah, I mean that is $240 a year, which is not a small amount of money. But at the same time, like you said, if you play one game a month, it more than pays for itself.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I broke this down as a math thing where it's like, even if PlayStation, I could play all these games, which granted, for now, they're not all day one. You just don't know when they're coming. So it's like, if you're willing to wait, great. But yeah, if I played like 3 PlayStation exclusives and 3 Xbox games come in there, and if each of those games averaged out to be $60 each, then that's like $360. But then the $240 that I do on Game Pass, then it's like, okay, I could play those same 3 games and more for $240. So it's like,
yeah.
So it's like, to me, it's still worth it, but 20, much more than 20, it becomes this thing of like, I don't know, maybe you just like get it for a month and then leave, kind of a thing. That's what would happen. I would use it for a month and then leave. So that's probably what would happen. But anyway, but my Valentine's Day question to you, Josh, before we play a Valentine's Day themed good game is if and I'm curious about anybody watching as well as if you watch after this, who is your most, if you just roll with me here, who is your most romanceable character in a video game that you're like, man, that would be great?
That's a tough one. It's gotta be either Aerith or Tifa from Final Fantasy VII, and it's like it depends on my if we're going straight up girlfriend material.
Yeah, girlfriend material, not bang, but like girlfriend material.
It's Aerith. Like she's
okay.
Like she's just everything about her. Like you want someone who is going to be there for you. That's her, And she's also.
Well, you're saying Tifa won't be there for you?
she will, but like, yeah. And I mean, and they're both badasses. Like, but yeah. I mean, and Tifa is. I would say if you're just going off of like who's the most smoking hot, it's Tifa. I mean, she's like most smoking hot video game character of all time, pretty much.
Yeah, but her, Lara Croft are absolute top. Yeah.
But Tifa's kind of got that like that best friend like vibe going. Like, I would love to just be best friends with a person like Tifa, Whereas Aerith, like that's more like that's who I want to come home to, or that's who I want to have come home to me at the end of every day. Yeah. So that's it. I'm trying to think of others. Like Lara Croft is she's definitely up there, but like she's so like she's just kind of like a loner and pretty I want to say like self-centered, not in like the negative way, but she's just like she just does what she wants to do and doesn't really care about anyone else, But I'm trying to, I don't know. How about you?
It's funny. I thought of this question and I'm just like, I don't think I actually know the answer myself. Because I think I've had this conversation with friends like way in the past, and we're just like, hey, like what's a video game character you'd want to date? And every time when I talk about it with friends, the first one that like I always bring up like subconsciously, but it's not like a fantasy, it's just like it just comes from the back of my mind, is Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite.
Okay.
I don't know why, but she's always like just. It's not like I even think about her. It's just she just gets pulled out from the back. And I remember when I played BioShock Infinite, she's just such a. Have you played that game?
Yeah, but I played it when it came out, so it's been
So it's been ages. Yeah, and I played it like a couple years after, but yeah, I found her character design super great. I always like the girls with that they only got like hair around their shoulders and maybe a pigtail on the back or something, and I like the blue and white, and she seemed like super friendly and stuff too. I just dug her, and she was like a useful like side character. She had a good story. I liked her a lot. But in terms of people know me and my love for Kingdom Hearts, I don't know if there's anybody there I'd love to date, but I frequently say Aqua is a great gal. I think she's awesome. But yeah, off the back of my head, I would probably say Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite.
Nice. So, yeah, I should go back and check out BioShock Infinite.
Dude, that game has the craziest ending of all time.
Yeah, both BioShocks.
Like,
Or I should say-
that is a tier list. I will always put Bioshock Infinite as the craziest ending to a game I have ever played. But yeah, no, that's a great game. I have the whole collection. Speaking of backlogs earlier, I have the whole trilogy, and I've been meaning to play that too, and I just haven't gone around to it. But yeah, I'd love to know if you're watching, like, who is your most romanceable video game character that you would have. But
I will say the women of Cyberpunk 2077 are all smoking hot.
For some reason, I thought you were gonna say that. Like, I was like, he's gonna say Cyberpunk.
I mean, I played a female V in as my character, so I was able to romance Judy, because she's gay. So, like, if you're a dude, you can't romance her. But Judy is incredible, and Pan Am would be tough for me to handle. Her personality would be tough for me to handle. But again, just like, those CDPR they know how to make a attractive woman.
Yeah. Okay. Trying to stop my stream because I don't want, not my general stream, but I don't want you to see my desktop anymore. And I'm trying to stop this. Show my screen share. Oh, stop. There we go. Now you can't see it, right?
No, I can't see your desktop.
Okay, we're good. Okay, so, and I do see Creature saying Magalo from Tales of Berseria. C2's like, that's a crazy answer, Creature. Oh, man. Let us know who you would love to be able to, not just, romance in the sexual way, but actually, like, as Josh said, come home to. That's a good way to put it, Josh. Come home to. That's a good one. But without further adu, at the end of all these shows, I love to play a good game to round up a good conversation. Which, Josh, by the way, I'm really glad we had that PlayStation conversation. That was a good one. We probably talk about that Long Live Long Day, but I think we kind of said our piece about it generally. So, yeah. But at the end of these, I was if we differed a lot, I'm like, cool. Let's ease the tension back with a good game about some good Valentine's Day themed questions in terms of over or under. And fun little trivia before we went live, Josh is like, he was looking at like my docket for today, and he's like, I kind of want to do over or under if that's cool. And I'm like, oh, you didn't have a choice actually, because that's all I prepared. So let's go. But yeah, so that was perfect. But yeah, if you guys don't know what over or under is, we are basically, I have a list of questions for Josh. There's going to be 5 of them. So hopefully he gets 3 out of 5. That there is a stat that you want to say either it's over that number or under that number. Like previously when I had Josh on, I think one of our most infamous questions was like, how many copies did Outlast sell? And it was like, over or under 13 million. 13 million?
That's insane.
Yeah, and it was over. But so that's a good example. So that is what we're doing, and I would love if you're watching live or if you're listening to this afterwards, feel free to partake. What do you think? The answer is, Josh, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
For a Valentine's Day themed game of over under. All right, my first question to you. All these questions are themed somewhat around just good, like the things that make the Doki Doki somewhat. But this first one, we have a very iconic bromance. I would argue the most iconic bromance ever. Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago is one of the most iconic bromances in game history. But how many years did Marcus and Dom know each other before Gears of War 1? Over or under 20 years?
I'm going to go under.
That was quick. Let me repeat this one more time. How many years did Marcus and Dom know each other before Gears of War 1? Over or under 20 years?
And I just have to guess over or under. I'm not guessing how many.
Yeah,
right?
You're not guessing the amount. You're just thinking, okay, he said 20. So is it 21 or 19?
Yeah, I think it's below 20. And I'm not a Gears of War expert. I've only played Gears of War 3. I know E-Day from what my limited knowledge. That's a prequel to them all. But that means that if it's over 20, that means in Gears of War 1, they would have had to have been at least like, I mean, unless they knew each other when they were kids. Shoot. I don't know that.
Over or under 20
I'm
years.
still going under. Yeah. I'm guessing they did not know each other until they were, all
right.
Until they were badass.
Josh says under. Under 20 years. It is not under. It is over. As one of the most iconic bromances, Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago, they knew each other before Gears of War 1. They knew each other for the 14 years before that, which was E-Day. E-Day was 14 years before Gears of War 1. And yes, 8 years before that, they were childhood friends.
Oh, okay.
So, well, at least 8 years. We don't have an exact count, but there's at least 8 years. So before E-Day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a total of at least 22 years.
Because I figured in E-Day, they can't be much older than like 20, right?
Yeah, they're somewhere, I think. Yeah, they're about like 20 there. I think, 2022. Yeah, they're very young there. But yeah, that is one of the most iconic bromances out there. You can't. That's why, man. When you ask Gears fans, when they saw that E-Day trailer, we all got emotional seeing like the two of them in the same shot again, man. We haven't seen the two of them in the same shot for a long time. So very excited about that. Yeah, Supertone said over. So you got a Supertone. Good job. My next question for you, Josh. Mass Effect is known for having some of the best romance options in game history. But how many total Mass Effect romance options are there throughout the whole series? Man. Over or under 20 again?
Oh, man. I don't know if it matters, but are we counting Andromeda?
Yes. We're counting 1, 2, 3, DLC, Andromeda. Yeah.
I'm counting over 20. It's gotta be.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
I mean, because they also, like, yeah, you can romance anyone in that, right? Not anyone, but like...
Mass Effect 2 in particular, man, they went nuts with the romances.
Yeah, I romanced... I was a Jack stan in that game, and I romanced Jack.
Yeah. So you think over?
I'm going over 20, yeah.
Oops, that was wrong. That is correct. It is over.
Nice.
The total is 22.
All right.
22 characters you could romance. And this includes, by the way, because there's like the main romances where you actually have a relationship with them, and also like flings. You know, there's some that you just have like a scene with, or maybe a little bit of banter, and then it develops into something, but it's kind of quick. So it's all them. But if it was just the main romances, then yeah, it'd be like 10. It'd be like cut in half. But yeah,
man,
I didn't know. Apparently you could romance like the reporter.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that at all. But I looked at like a ranking of all the romance options. I'm like, get the freak out of me! I didn't know you could do
hanging out in the Citadel, or was she? I don't remember.
It might be a DLC thing. Maybe I saw that wrong, but maybe it was actually a different character. I don't know. But I could have swore it was the reporter. I'm like, no way, the one you can punch.
Dude, Mass Effect that'd be a fun one to go back to. I only played 2. I never played 1 or 3.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
That's a little bit, I have to admit, that's like Lord of the Rings, you got to watch all 3. You can't play one Mass Effect, like, especially jumping in right in the middle.
Yeah.
That is, I would argue, that is the best game trilogy of all time, including my very own Halo. Like, I think Mass Effect is a trilogy. That's why. All 3 of them connect so well. That's not because of how good they are, but they literally all 3 connect so well, including the romances. So, anyway, next one. You mentioned this earlier. Tifa Lockhart is known for being one of the most iconic waifus in all of game history. But how old is Tifa in the events of Final Fantasy VII?
Oh, God.
Over or under?
You're in trouble here, dude.
Over or under 21?
Yeah, I feel like
Over
given
under,
what I
Tifa
just
Lockhart, 21.
given that I just said she was like one of the hottest video game characters ever, I feel like I need to say over, but there's no way she's over 21. She's got to be. I'm guessing she's 19.
She runs a bar. She runs a bar.
Okay, you make a good point. All right.
But what does that even mean in a world like
I'm saying there's a theme here. So I think that Marcus and what's the other Gears guy?
Dom.
They knew each other. They knew each other for 22 years, I think. And there were 22 romances. I'm saying Tifa is 22 years old. Over.
The answer is under.
Dang it.
You were on the right track though, Josh. I am so proud of you because there was a meta going on. Because you were right. Like, okay, he said 22. It's under. She is 20 years old.
Okay.
The meta was the previous two questions. I said over or under 20 years. Over or under 20 romances. So you were close. You were close figuring out the meta. That was really cool.
I actually don't know the ages of any Final Fantasy VII characters, which is surprising because the original is like one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah, I think the only thing that we get context with it is that, like, I guess in the flashback, it's somewhere confirmed that she's like 16, and that was 4 years ago or something like that, or she was 15 or 16, and I think it's like, oh, the flash forward it brings her to 20. But I looked into it; she is 20, so she's over 18, so you're okay.
Good. I wonder how old Cloud is. I feel like
he's 21. He's 1 year older than her. Yeah.
I thought he was 17 in that game for some reason.
Yeah, Creatures got this in the chat. Yeah, she was 15 in the flashback, and then it's 5 years later. So that's what it was. Yep. So she runs a bar, but she's not 21. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, we don't know in whatever world that is. Maybe there is no legal drinking age.
Next up. You're going to be pissed at me for this one. Persona is a game that... Now listen. This is a fun one. Fun fact. Persona is a game that lets you date every romance option in one playthrough if you want to be the scumbag that you are.
Yeah, that's
You could date all of them at once if you would like to. In last year's Persona 3 Reload, there's a scene you almost get caught between how many of them in the same room. Over or under 2.5?
Wait.
So what that means, 2.5, it means you have to either say it's 2 or less or 3 or more. So over or under 2.5?
I'm going to go over. It seems like...
There's a scene in Persona 3 Reload that you almost get caught with a certain amount of them in the same room. Over or under 2.5?
Yeah, I'm going to guess over because I'm going to guess that they're kind of trying to make you nervous. Like, you know you're doing something shady. Like, dating more than 3 people. And...
All right.
Yeah, so I'm going over.
Sir, you are correct. It is over! Nice. Barely. It is 3. There is a scene where there's 3 of them that wind up in the same classroom, and it's like, why are you saying that? Why are you saying that? And then the guys are just like, hey, by the way, we should go over here. Like, they're trying to like cover for him. Yeah, you could be a scumbag in Persona. So,
yeah, that's... Yeah. I didn't play 3. I played Persona 4, but not 3. And I didn't play 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My final question. This is more in the theme of not necessarily romance, but the heart. The heart. And it's another one that is just like, over or under, you just take a chance. And to longtime peeps of mine, you might know this. Kingdom Hearts is a franchise. It's like 2 in a row. Damn you, Tony. Kingdom Hearts is a franchise full of what the heart is capable of. But in the climactic battle for Kingdom Hearts, how many total combatants is prophesized to unlock Kingdom Hearts? Over or under 30? Over or under 30? In the climactic battle for Kingdom Hearts, how many total combatants is prophesized to unlock Kingdom Hearts? Over or under? 30.
My
This
head says it's
yeah.
got to be less. It's got to be fewer than 30 because that 30 sounds like a lot. But my heart says more, so we're going more. We're going over.
More. Josh says over.
I'm guessing 33 for some reason.
33. I like it. I like the specific number. I like it. In this battle, how many combatants? My camera keeps shutting off for some reason. In this final battle, how many combatants are involved to unlock Kingdom Hearts? You said over 30. The answer is... It is under. It is under 30. You're right. It was a trick question, but it's actually not too much less. It is... The prophecy is essentially 13 darknesses will fight 7 lights. So it's 20.
20.
That is the prophecy or whatever. It's like the 13 darknesses will clash with the 7 lights and unlock Kingdom Hearts, blah, blah, blah. So that means, what do we got? I think the only one you got was Mass Effect. Yeah. No, wait. No, and Persona. You got the Mass Effect and Persona one. So
that's right.
2 out of 5. But still.
I'll take it. That was good. I like the theme. Like that was a well designed game there.
I was hoping you liked it. I knew it's like whether you know the games or not, they all have a theme. You know, there's the bromance, there's the romances, there's the hot girl, there's the game that you could be a scumbag. There's just a game all about hearts. So the Valentine's Day themed over or under. Supertone says he got 4. So good job, Supertone.
Nice. Crushed it.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we had a very good time in this Codename Good game today. And Josh, I really appreciate your time. This was awesome, and I don't know, I appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me on, and we'll see how the rest of my 2025 shapes up. But I'm hoping to have a lot more free time. So anytime you want to have me on the show, I'm down.
Yeah, and play Helldivers too.
Yeah,
I love that game, man.
A friend just asked me to, I mean, you know me, I'm not the multiplayer guy, but a friend just asked me to hop on Marvel Rivals. I've never played that. I'm sure I would get absolutely destroyed, but Helldivers is co-op, right? It's not. It's
all co-op. Yeah, it's just PvE. You work together. Yeah, totally. Yeah, but yeah, that has been our show today, folks. It was awesome. Had a good talk, and I would love to know what you thought of it, as well as the state of PlayStation and any other stories like we didn't get to Avowed or previews this week. Let us know in the comments down below. Share your voice. That's what I'm all about. And I hope you guys have a great, excuse me, I almost burped, at the closing Valentine's Day weekend. Good night, everybody. Have a good one.